Now I'd like to try to do a drawing of like a interior of like a shop, something like that. So we've been learning about drawing scenery, and I think that we can apply the tools that we've been working with. So let's start again with the ground plane. So this is going to be the ground. And I'm going to do the same thing that I keep on doing, which is I'm going to make a little kind of path that my eye is going to follow along the ground plane. But now this is going to be an interior space, okay? I'm not going to be drawing like a park or a street scene or something like that. So let's say that we've got a person inside of a cake store, okay? So here's the scale. The camera is going to be looking at the person as though we're walking into a store that this person is working in. So here's the person, and they're standing on the floor right about there. Okay, they work in a cake store. They're a little baker. They work in a cake store. And from the lines, we can see that our camera level is about right here. So the top of the head is going to go that way. This is going to be flat. That's going to go that way. All of these lines will go that way, okay? So everything below this, we start to see top plane. Everything below this, we start to see top plane. Everything above this, we see bottom plane. So let's say that the store has a countertop. And so this guy is standing at a countertop. And here it is. And we need to be able to see some of the top of the counter. Okay? Now, I know that because this foot of the counter is further away from the horizon line, which is probably about right there, that this is steeper. So here's the person. They're standing at a counter at a coffee shop. They've got a little apron on. And I'm trying to do the exact same stuff that we were trying to do in the other examples, which is I want to start trying to stack stuff into the distance here. So let's say I'm going to go all the way back to here, and I'm going to put a doorway. And it's just a hole in that wall. And because I'm looking up this way, so there's a little counter, there's a person. So the counter is the first thing, the person is the second thing, and now the doorway is the third thing. And now I'm going to see what I can overlap behind the doorway. Like what would be neat to have behind the doorway? It might be neat to have another person back here. Say there's a little person back here, and say they're washing dishes or something like that. Because this is my horizon line, the person in the foreground, these lines will go downward. His head will become lower than his head because that's where the horizon line is. Okay. It might be that in the foreground right here, I'm going to put a cash register. This is some crazy old-fashioned cash register. And by putting his arm over this way, feels like he's behind the cash register. There's his hand. Not very well done. On the wall behind him, between these guys, and on the wall behind him, shelves. And here's a shelf that you have to look up to see. There's a shelf going across the top of this doorway. And oh, here's an idea. There's another one up here going back that way. And on those shelves, they have cakes stacked. Or boxes that take cakes out. And this comes over and up. And this goes into the distance further. And there could be another door back in here. This time it'll have to be lower to stay in perspective. And higher. You'll have to follow the ground plane. And there's another door back there. And I want to try to find something to put between him and here and there. And I want to make this door open. And perhaps coming out of the bathroom, there'll be a little person. Maybe one more person right there. So the idea that I'm working from here, I think I would cut this off right here. Looks like that would be a good crop. So the idea that I'm working from here is I think of a kind of an overhead floor plan. And what I do is I position the counter here, position the first person here, and I position a wall here with a hole in it and another person standing there at a sink, right? And then I turn this into a wall and I come back further and I put a door right here with another person maybe standing just here in front of the door. And my angle of view is here, looking in past all this stuff, and then I decided to put another person here and a cash register right there. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to overlap. I'm trying to get these things to go in. It's almost like this simple. It's almost like this, and I take something and I go like that. And then I take something else and I go like that. And then I take something else and I go like that. And then I take something else and I put it there. And it's the fact of all of these overlaps, and then I take something and I put it here. And then something here. And then something here. Smaller. So the main tools that I'm working with is making things smaller as they go back in space. and overlapping. And look at how fun the composition gets pretty quickly. Now, working out these lines, sometimes working out those lines is where we might find some trouble. And the way that we find those lines is with our 1 and 2 point perspective. And I go back and help you out with that. We can get more into that, and we'll also want to start to get more into how to build the scene with tone. Okay, but that's intro to sketching a room with people in it doing stuff.